And speaking of which, we do have two teams about to face off against each other to start off the day, and it's going to be XSET off against Esports Arena. Now, XSET, from what I have heard, is going to be playing with a sub today. I don't know exactly who is going to be subbing for who, but I do know that is going to hurt because on set we've talked about Esports Arena and how well they're doing in ALGS. Arena, a bit of a different animal in its own right, but it is the purest form whenever it comes to just straight up gun skill. So XSET might have their hands full here. I think even with the the total roster, even without a sub, it would still be a challenge for them. But how do you think they're going to fare off today?
I think they're certainly the underdogs in this game because bringing a sub in is, it
always
affects
hard,
any team's chemistry. You put a bubble down. For example, if you're playing Gibraltar and all of a sudden, things change because one player will play a certain way in that bubble, another player will play a different way in that bubble. So all of those small things factor into how a team fight is going to end up actually turning out. So it's going to be tough for them. But at the same time, you can have the wonderful honeymoon period. We all know when you start a new team, all of a sudden, first few games you play, you're the greatest players that have ever graced a video game. It just happens. So they'll be hoping that the honeymoon period is there for them. But Esports Arena, I think they're one of the best teams in the world right now. I think they are unbelievably well drilled. I think they've got great chemistry, and it would be a shock to me to see them go out here.
I agree, man. Esports Arena, definitely the top dogs. Doesn't necessarily guarantee you success, though. We've had some talented teams in ALGS move into these tournaments for Arena and then, kind of fall flat, right? It's just not their style. It's just not the same. And Gaskin, speaking of not the same, I did mention before we're going to be bringing in some new maps. Let's go ahead and take a look and see if any of those new maps do follow here. Thermal Station, Overflow, and then there it is. Encore right in the middle of Party Crasher and Phase Runner. Encore, newest map added in. This is going to be a fun series.
Yeah, we've had Encore added and we've had maps removed from this pool. So all of the POIs from World's Edge and whatnot have been taken away, except Thermal Station. That's why you're seeing it there. This is going to be more of a kind of traditional arenas tournament, I feel, in you've got a lot more well-rounded maps. I think we've got to a point now where we know which maps are good for arenas, we know which maps are bad for arenas. I don't have to bang on about how much I hate gardens anymore because it's not pool, so that's fantastic. Instead, we've got a really good pool to get the best action here in some good arenas 3v3.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of Gaskin, just a little bit more on Encore, though. How do you think that one's going to play out? First time we're going to be seeing it played competitively tonight.
I think that Mark made a good point earlier in that some teams wouldn't have played much arenas and they may not have even touched this map, so they will not know how it plays, they will not know the best areas to hold, and it's going to be a lot of just quick thinking and quick adapting. So you're going to really be looking at the IGLs there to be making quick calls to which areas to be pushing. Of course, the circle is going to force you into certain zones, but in general, people know how to fight. They know how to maneuver their way around terrain. They'll know which to take. They'll go for the high ground, and I think they should be comfortable, and they might enjoy themselves. They're going to be playing on a new map, and they'll be like, hey, this one's pretty fun, because I think Encore is one of the better ones for me.
Yeah, I like it. I had a ton of fun playing it. I will say, though, there's been a lot of new additions, including Legends. Ashe is going to be in the mix. And on set, do you think Ashe is going to be a viable legend to be used? I've been seeing it played quite a bit when it comes to even the pub matches I've been playing.
Yes, it is. Ashe is awesome. And I feel in arenas, her ultimate is really, really good. Your ability to just kind of immediately teleport to a location. If you can single someone out and you've got that available, you can just full send it on them. If you get any kind of damage done, you can take height almost immediately. She's a really, really good legend to have. Some people will say on the flip side of that, she can be quite an inty character sometimes if you play it wrong and all of a sudden you kind of throw away a kill. But also, the tether is going to be really important. If you manage to get a couple of players stuck behind a little bit of cover and you can tether them and get some nades down, she's going to be really good. So it wouldn't surprise me to see quite a lot of her today.
All right, well, it's time to get into the favorite portion that I like because the banter really starts here. Let's talk about our predictions. Now, last time you guys had a bit of a battle. No one wanted to go first, and if you did go first, the other person ended up going the opposite way. I think we're going to be on the same page here, at least for the certain team that I think is going to win this. But Gaskin, we'll start with you. Who's going to be your favorite for this one?
Esports Arena. I think hard to go against them with the form that they're in. I think that they've been playing well ever since we saw them kind of come onto the scene. They've gone from kind of grassroots Apex to now the biggest and best Apex, and they're becoming one of the best teams around. So they're going to be my prediction.
All right, Onset, what about you?
I like how you made me go second. I remember that you said Dan was your favorite already, and it's starting to show already. I'm worried about the rest of the show. It's a long show today, and I'm already behind, so I'm gonna have to try and do some catching up. I'm going with Esports Arena as well, though. I think Dan's given the right reasons. Plus, you throw in the fact that XSET have got a sub. It's going to be tough for them, but Esports Arena for me is easy pick in this one.
Girl's going to be on later, but I wholly feel like if she was here, she would definitely be going with XSET, right? She's the type of person, right, to go against the grain and somehow end up winning the prediction race. She does it every single time. She's a wizard. I don't know how she does it. Only certain people can do that. Blaze is one of them, and Girl is obviously another one. It's going to be a fun day. Rain Day is also going to be joining us for the first time during a UMG production. Esports Arena definitely has to be the favorite here. Again, though, curious to see if the transition from standard BR over towards Apex is going to be a clean one for them, and also curious about Skittlecakes, who normally is that caustic player. What is he going to be adjusting to, because we got a lot of options, especially with Ash being in the mix. Chat, who are you going with? Are we going to be seeing XSET? Are we going with Esports Arena? Esports Arena across the board. So XSET, it's up to you to prove us all wrong. It's always scary when we all go for one team, because that means we can all lose at the same time, but if we're all doing it together, I guess that's cool. That was really cheesy. Never going to say that again. But hey,
it's made me feel a little bit more at home.
Is that right?
We're all losers, but we're all losers together. It's fine. It's all good.
It was definitely weird, but hey, it's going to be a fun time, and I can't wait to get it started. Maybe some upsets will start early on, or maybe not. We'll definitely see how well else XSET is going to be able to, and honestly, who their sub is. But hey, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off. You guys take it away. Let's get it started.
Thank you, Taylor. It is time, almost done, to get into our first game of the day. I'm super excited, man. It's a nice change of pace, isn't it, when we move away from BRs and we go into Arena and we get to see how teams have adapted, what teams have been playing, and certainly what teams haven't been playing. And I wonder if either of these teams, with the amount of work they've been putting in for Battle Royales and the success they've had recently, have even looked at Arenas recently. And this could be a little bit more unpredictable than maybe we're giving credit for.
Yeah, are we going to see the aggression coming out from the likes of Esports Arena? Are they going to try and assert their dominance really early in tournaments? Something we've seen in these UMG Invitationals when it comes to arenas is the teams who are good in BR are usually very confident in their 3v3 engagements, so they just try to push the other team. Don't let it come down to who's got the better position, who's been a little bit more strategic. Don't even let compositions come into it sometimes. Instead, just get raw aim, raw skill, get in the faces early, and take those fights. But there is a lot of legend options. There is a lot of compositions we are going to be seeing today. We saw a lot of Valkyrie come into the mix, for example, just to kind of get you into those early positions, take that height nice and early in the game. But I think you're right. I think Ash could crop up here or there. I think that ultimate is going to offer that aggression that we look for, especially when you purchase that ultimate straight away. Bang, you're there. You don't have to worry about jetting up into the sky. You almost get a free push as well. So I'm really excited to see how it's going to affect things.
Well, we do have a new map in the pool, like we mentioned as well. That's going to be map 3 of our series today. Best of 5 in these early round games, but it will be the first map, I should say, that we've seen quite frequently. Dan, we know it, we love it. Thermal Station. No pizza jokes today. We're going to leave those ones to the side because this is a map we kind of know how it plays, and I think that even if these players haven't played a huge amount of arenas recently, they're certainly going to be probably as comfortable as they could possibly be.
Yeah, so the only POI map we've got left after the others have been removed from this competitive pool, as it were. Wraith, very important on a map like this, we have found, but we are going to be starting off with an Ashe alongside Octane and a Gibby for XSET. So they're going to be looking to try and get a tether nice and early, get some information, and push up. Early weapons are always interesting for me. Do you go for the wingman? Do you just purchase straight up something like a flatline? We'll see how this one plays out.
Well, interesting, just looking across the lineup as well. The name is XSET, but we've got 2 players from 69 IQ Esports in here, so it's kind of like XSET by default, which is certainly something to keep an eye on. So there's 2 subs by the looks of things coming in for XSET here, which makes things a little bit more difficult for them. But early on here, you can see that both teams trying to fight for this dome building, as we know, such a strong position to try and hold down. Looks like XSET have control underneath for now, Dan, but a little bit of a split across the map here.
It does mean that Ashe just becomes really a pointless legend in this first round once you've used that tether, because her passive isn't going to be doing anything when you're kind of scanning death boxes to get a little bit of information. Yeah. So instead, you're just going to be using her as a body, really. Maybe use some aggression, hope to use some of the abilities of the other legends here in this game. But I think you're right, the fact that we've got 2 members from 69 IQ Esports, I guess that's a good thing in some ways, that both of the players are going to know how each other play, but it's definitely not going to be XSET here. It is mainly 69 IQ.
Well, you can see a bow check in action as well. We're also going to see the old favourite, the wingman. We see a headshot come in as well as a little body shot there. And we talk about economy in these early rounds, Dan. We're really starting to see players start to burn through things here. You can see Verhulst is going to be using his last battery, and you have to wonder how many shield cells he's going to have as well. Some flash damage going to be done from distance there. Mozambique in the hands of Slayers, but you can see the SmeggyToes. He's standing on his last leg at the moment, Dan. Doesn't manage to get the battery off, but it's really starting to hurt this chip damage now for XSET.
A lot of the best players in arenas will be calculating how much is left when it comes to those resources, and there's one member already down from XSET, but also on the other side, same for Esports Arena.
It was traded out early here. Verhulst has a nice angle, 35 flash damage after breaking that shield. The bubble res will come in as well, so Esports Arena only down to 2 for a few moments as Skittlecakes has a cell to pop as well. If they can get that finish, it'll be a permanent 3v2 in their favor. Hasn't managed to be finished quite as yet, but it looks like that player's not really in position to get res unless a bubble can come in. He will be finished. So now it's a 2v3 for XSET. Shots coming in nicely here with the Mozambique, but not enough to get that knock. And now all falls down to the final player. It's the 1v3 here, and you feel like this should be the first round for Esports Arena.
Yeah, 1v3, and Verhulst is going to be back up to full health with the Phoenix kit. Clane now, it's just delaying the inevitable unless he goes Super Saiyan, is not going to be turning into Goku just yet. And Esports Arena will put the first on the board. It was a slow and steady round, both teams just poking at one another, trying to see who's going to be playing where. Both teams playing Ashe. That ultimate, of course, didn't come into the equation in round 1 because you have to purchase that ultimate. It's not the same as in Battle Royale, where you just slowly and steadily unlock it across the round as it goes. Maybe we'll see an Ashe ultimate purchase here in round number 2, though. I'm going to be honest, I've yet to use Ashe when it comes to Arena, so I'm not quite sure how much that ultimate costs, but I would presume around 300, 400 credits. So it is definitely achievable here in round 2, but it's whether you want to commit to that instead of going for grenades, maybe an upgraded weapon, for example.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say I certainly haven't played a lot of Ashe in BRs. I've never seen someone auto-lock a character quicker than when I play with you. It's just bang! Just like, oh, okay, you're Ashe. It's all cool. Yeah, exactly. We'll play the other legends. Don't worry about it, mate. XSET down by 0-1 at the moment. A reminder, get 3 rounds on the board without a reply, then that is the first map going in your favor. So a great start here for Esports Arena. And to be honest with you, Dan, it was pretty clean. It was one thing that we talk about a lot with Esports Arena. Their ability to minimize mistakes as a lineup, I think, is what brings them so much success.
Yeah, I think that the way Esports Arena do just plan their fights is something that impressed me in BR, and you can see it as well in 3v3 arenas. They scatter themselves ever so slightly, but they keep themselves within a distance that if there is a knock, of course, you've got the bubble, you've got the Gibby there, you can get back up. It's always a risk to go for that res, but they had enough cover, they were able to do it. Also important to be buying that bubble and ensuring that you can pick someone up. So well played in round number 1. Round 2, again, a nice slow, steady pace. Resources have been grabbed, and more can be grabbed from this pill as well. But XSET are just playing kind of center circle and just seeing whether they can maybe do some damage from distance.
Another weapon that's interesting me as well is the Rampage being brought in with a Thermite. If you can rev that thing up, it does so much damage. If you've been watching a lot of C9 and playing the AOGS, you'll know that Albaleli loves to use that weapon and get it revved up. You'll see his inventory got about 17 Thermite grenades across the board, so you can certainly see how he feels it's a huge influence on gunfights. But the Volt also still does a lot of damage as Skittlecakes scuttles away back to Verhulst here, and he's only got 1 cell to play with. And also the changes recently to Octane as well mean that if you're hitting that stim down, it takes a little bit more time for that health to start recovering.
Yeah, just a little bit longer, but still just the speed of which you can move around the map with Octane means is very important here in these arenas, and both teams want to use them. At the moment, XSET holding this donut building, and Esports Arena are slowly but surely edging their way up, and they want to try and take it off them. Skynades come out, and now the push can come through because they've done enough damage to Clane. Skittlecakes needs to be careful, though.
He's got that Rampage revved up as well, so he's going to be a player to watch here. If he can get a climb and get some shots off, then he will be able to do a hell of a lot of damage. But underneath being taken here, 69 IQ actually going to make a little bit of a play here and drop down and get a little bit aggressive inside of that bubble, and they will get the first knock. And it looks like they'll get the second as well, and this is a quick wipe. I like that from XSET, not allowing Esports Arena to get healthy, dropping down on them immediately, taking those angles, and just trapping them in that corner.
Because as soon as they heard the meds below them, they realized that they had the jump, they took the initiative, and they just engaged in that fight. And I like that. I think you need to demonstrate the right amount of aggression here in arenas. You can't be too passive. You can't allow the other team to always dictate the pace. And XSET ensuring that they don't allow Esports Arena to just dominate here. So 1-1, it's not going to be a clean wipe. It's not going to be Esports Arena just blasting through XSET here, or XSET X69 Esports, whatever we're going for here. But it looks like there is some chemistry there, as you would expect. I'm a little bit annoyed that I have to say SmeggyToe again on broadcast. I thought maybe I would be able to avoid it here in arenas, but alas, SmeggyToe is on the team.
Yeah, it's following you around. That's all I can say about that. Well, Skittlecakes is going to be taking the central structure here in the drill tower. A couple of shots going to be going down, the flatline in hand, more of a traditional weapon that we see. And Clane trying to make a little bit of a play here. And you can afford to do that with Ash. Doesn't have the ultimate available, though, so it is a little bit more risky than if the ultimate was available. Does have the tether, though, and if you can get one of those players just stuck for a few seconds and a couple of grenades going in, like I mentioned, it can be a very, very devastating combo. A little bit like a kind of a baby version of a Horizon ult, if you like. Just being able to keep those players tied down for a few seconds. Now Esports Arena try and make their move, but big shots coming in and Verhulst will go down.
Verhulst gets caught, and he was the one player with the pad as well. They could have initiated onto a fight, but here comes the bubble. Skittlecakes there to cover. Does throw the nade just in case anyone pushing and getting aggressive on that res, but it looks like the res comes up, but I don't think it's enough to actually get any heals, so XSET trying to quickly take advantage of this man advantage.
Yeah, they're doing a great job as well. They have lost shields, but they haven't lost players. SmeggyToe is going to be in a 1v1. That'll be 2 down now for Esports Arena. And Dooplex has managed to get some heals off. And if he can close the ground quickly enough, he might be able to get the knock. However, it looks like a shield swap has come in. So a 1v3, even with height. No thermite here to rev up the rampage. And this is looking like it might be the end of the round. SmeggyToe is going to drop into the zone. And all of a sudden, somehow or other, it's turned into a 1v2. However, by giving up height, he might have just given up the round. And that is the case as XSET got 2-1.
So XSET just catching Esports Arena off guard a little bit. Esports Arena left a little bit vulnerable after the Octane went down. I think that they had a plan. That plan was very quickly taken away from them as soon as Verhulst got obliterated from distance. Just the wingman shots coming in from distance and a nice team shot in general from XSET. And then they pushed at the right time. They went for the bubble res again, did Esports Arena. They did the right thing. Skittlecakes came across the cover through the nades as well to ensure that that bubble couldn't be pushed, so the res would definitely get off. But it's all well and good getting the res. If you can't get the heals after the res, you're still going to be vulnerable to a push. So XSET put themselves with a chance to take this first one.
Well, here is the Ash ultimate up onto height. And that is going to be dome control. And that's one thing about Ash as well. We talk about the battle for height a lot of the time, right? Around this dome when White Pathfinder's grapple is so good, and the zip line, I should say, can get you to that height. However, Ash is going to get there even quicker, but the battle's going to start even quicker here as Esports Arena answer back. And almost as if I got my first piece of analysis out of the way for the day, the round's over, Dan. 2-2.
Yeah, it's all well and good ashing up onto the building, but they didn't then confidently hold the top of the donut. And that was because Esports Arena decided they were going to be more aggressive than they have been in any of the previous rounds. They jumped straight up, they took the fight to XSET, and I think it caught XSET off guard ever so slightly. Esports Arena took that height, and then they dominated the fight ever since the bubble came down. Some great shots coming out from Verhulst there to ensure they got the clean wipe. 2-2. We might be going all the way here in this first one, and I think this is, if this is an indication of how rounds are going to go for the rest of this one, then maybe it's not going to be as comfortable for Esports Arena as we might have imagined when we did our predictions.
It's very, very true. It hasn't been comfortable for either team so far, but a great response round after round from teams at the moment. Verhulst is going to have to pop a battery earlier on, and this is where we're going to see some slightly elongated rounds in what we saw previously, you would imagine, due to the amount of resources that teams now have with the economy that is available. So initial damage won't be capitalized on quite as quickly. However, Slayers is doing a really good job with that wingman. He's been hitting some really crisp shots so far, Dan.
Yeah, he has. I think the wingman, if you've got someone who can actually do some damage with it, can really catch a team, and it could really just ruin everything they're trying to plan out. Any sort of push, any sort of engagement. As we say, that Clane getting caught out there just in no man's land, and now will leave the last remaining 2 players in a very difficult spot. Okay, you managed to pick up a gold 30-30, but is that going to be enough to help you? Maybe if you can create some sort of gap here, do some distance with the 30-30, and then push on with a pad, you might be able to win a 2 versus 3. It's not going to be easy though.
About getting that pick at the moment, you can see that Esports Arena are trying to make sure that they're playing together and that they can zone out one player. Bubble goes in, SmeggyToe, he will be deleted in just a few seconds, and now it's a 2v1. And that is fantastic from Esports Arena, recognizing the fact they had that advantage, being able to zone out one player on his own in a 2v1 and then collapsing for the final kill. That's what they're so good at, Dan, recognizing advantages and taking advantage when they present themselves.
I'd say it's something that both teams have done well in this opening map, is just their execution of team fights when they have that advantage. No one's really slipped up just yet. It's something we have seen in arenas several times where people will split themselves, or they'll be overconfident when they think, oh, you know, it's a 3v2, we're definitely going to win. And you give that opportunity to your opposition to actually get one knock, and then suddenly, you know, it's an even playing field. So instead, you need to be grouping up, you need to be pushing together, and there needs to be strategy. So the ultimate there again for Ash here, if they want to use it, XSET, but instead, it looks like they're jumping in the faces of Esports Arena.
I feel a little bit sorry for this player at the moment. However, Dooplex replies with some shots of his own, and all of a sudden things have completely turned around as Skittlecakes gets the first knock onto SmeggyToe. I thought that was almost a guaranteed knock to be coming in for XSET at the start of things there, but wasn't the case. Esports Arena answer back. Great crossfire coming in, and now it's a 2v3.
Should be comfortable now from this point for Esports Arena. XSET down to just one player, and they've got the knocks. Clane is going to be the last remaining. We'll use the Ash ultimate just to get away, but you're delaying the inevitable. 1 versus 3. I can't really see it happening. It looks like round 1 is going to go to Esports Arena, and map 1, should I say. That's going to be it. They get map 1 under their belts, and even though it was a shaky start, they finally started to get in their groove a bit, Esports Arena there.
Yeah, a little bit of a dance around the end of the game there, or the final kill, I should say, but not enough to duke out the players. And a 1v3 when you've got 3 players with so much talent flying at you is very, very difficult to do anything against. But I've got to say, one thing that kind of stood out to me there for XSET was they went with Ash, and I don't think Ash had as much impact maybe as we were expecting, to be honest with you. I feel like Pathfinder still has a little bit of an edge in arenas just because of the fact that you can take different angles, you can get in and out very quickly, and obviously with the Q, it's a little bit less expensive to use than it is to have the ultimate do that.
Yeah, I think with arenas, legends are used for one of two things. It's either to get to high ground and get to the prime position first, so whether that be an Octane with a bounce pad, whether that be a Pathfinder with a zip, or Ash with a teleport. Even though Ash with a teleport is going to be the kind of quickest and also safest route to the high ground, if you don't take the advantage from that high ground, then she just becomes pretty much pointless afterwards. Yeah, okay, you've got the tether, but I still don't think it's that important compared to some of the other abilities and passives that are available for the other legends. It's why I was kind of questioning whether we'd see that much of her. I do think there are maps where she will be better, and you also can play it a little bit differently with her, because the other way you can play Legends, and the other way, is just aggression when it comes to actually 3v3 engagements, whether it be the bubble from Gibby, whether it be using the Ash to actually jump on a team and get behind a team, and that's perhaps how I was expecting her to be played. But XSET just didn't really seem to find the right rhythm when it came to Ash, and it just became just a body, another character. It wasn't really a legend that was doing too much.
Yeah, this round here was a great example of what Esports Arena do so well as well. You know, Slayer's left on his own. Singling out 2 1v1s is difficult to do, even when you get a man advantage in arenas, Dan. And, you know, that's all down to communication. It's down to knowing how your teammate is going to play, and it's about making that call and recognizing the situation on the map and kind of looking down on the map top down instead of looking about what's in front of you and recognizing where those players are separated and how you can take advantage of that.
Yeah, and Ash can jump on a player. I think it was what you pointed out in the pre-show, that if you can separate one of those players, you can very quickly dive on them kind of for free, because you're not going to be shot in midair like you would be with a bounce pad from Octane, for example. But of course that portal does pop up, and if the second player isn't quick enough to go through it, they could be somewhat vulnerable to just being spammed by grenades or hit by plenty of shots, because it is going to be an easy target once you get there. A very comfortable first map after we got through the kind of nitty gritty there for Esports Arena. I think they just had to kind of adjust to the playstyle we were seeing from XSET, and XSET were trying to inject a little bit of aggression there, but Esports Arena kind of thrive in an aggressive environment. So maybe we'll see a little bit of a change from XSET going into map number 2.
I wonder if it will be a legend change or whether it will be just an attitude change, so to speak, as we head into our second map. But just as we get the second map kind of lined up and ready to go in the background, it gives me an opportunity to kind of ask you a little bit about, you know, what is making Esports Arena so successful at the moment? Because it's not a fluke. It's week after week. We are seeing at the top, when we see end games in Battle Royale, they're always there, as we just remind everyone at home about our series layout with Overflow coming up. But what is it for you, if you had to narrow it down to one thing that's been impressive about them and how they approach every single situation as a team?
I think it's clear when you watch them that they are following every instruction of the IGL. There is no second questioning. There is no doubt. There isn't someone on the team saying, oh, well, maybe we should do this. I think that clear instructions are being sent out and they're all agreeing to it and they're all on the same wavelength. It's absolutely apparent when they get into those engagements. They always know how they want to execute in a fight. And that is a terrifying team because they kind of will win or die together. And that's good. You need to have that because if you die together, at least you can look back and say, okay, what went wrong? However, if you die because one player didn't agree to the shot call, then you're going to try that next play again sometime, and maybe you die because you haven't been able to try it. It's very important that you trust your IGL and you will follow them and go down with the ship, as it were. And I really do think that everyone in Esports Arena has a great respect for one another, and they are all on the same page.
Yeah, it's a great bit of analysis there. I agree with you completely. I think it's very rare that you'll see Esports Arena not committing to a decision, and I think they show it in arenas here, and they certainly showed it in one of the rounds that we saw previously after getting that initial knock. But now we're moving over to our second map with Esports Arena up by 1, and we're heading over to Overflow now. We know how this one plays. A lot of teams will kind of split the map either side and kind of do a little bit of poke damage to start with before that zone starts to collapse and teams get forced into each other. But one thing I saw from Esports Arena as well was a variety of different weapons being used. We saw the Devotion, we saw the Rampage, we've seen the Wingman, we've seen the Flatline. I think we saw pretty much every weapon that you could use that takes heavy ammo.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we didn't see a little bit more consistency across the board, but again, that demonstrates what a good position we're in with Apex at the moment with the balance of guns, and also that's transitioning across to arenas with the cost of those guns and what's available in the early rounds. We're used to seeing just a naked Flatline in round 1, we're used to seeing the Wingman in round 1, the Rampage. It is great to see that coming into play as well because you've already explained why that's so important in BRs, and it's definitely going to do some damage here in arenas as well. But map number 2 and a chance for XSET to try and get back on the board here.
It's going to be Mozambique and P2020 here for Slayers with the blue bolt on top of that. We know how that can do so much span damage, not just from close range as well, but just chipping away at that economy and the shields like we previously talked about, so important in these first rounds. And with the spray and with the fragmentations of those shotgun shells flying across the map, it can just be enough to force a team to use one cell they don't want to use. And XSET on the back foot at the moment, and it looks like when you see the zone here, it is Esports Arena who are holding down the better side of things, or I should say, excuse me, XSET are holding down the better sides of things for now. So it's going to be Esports Arena will have to make a little bit of a travel across towards them.
I think these are the most difficult rounds as well, where you don't have much resources, your weapons are pretty bare, but if you can hit shots like that, then it doesn't matter. Dooplex goes down, Clane getting the first one, and now you need to take advantage of this player advantage. They will push in, they do some damage, and XSET should close things out, which they do. Esports Arena just not able to answer the sheer wingman power that we've been seeing from XSET. The shots are just raining through the maps, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, that was Clane's round. I can't really think of any other way to sell it, to be honest with you. Clane comes in, hits pretty much every single bullet with the Wingman, then drops down low, does damage, uses the grapple to get out as well, doesn't get finished, and then his teammates just walk in and go, hey, everything's really simple, isn't it? We just walk in and finish off a couple of one-shots. But that was perfect execution there, and once again showing why the Wingman is still the king of weapons when it comes to arenas.
And I think just from the few rounds that XSET have been able to take over Esports Arena, even if they weren't to win this round 1, they should be a team that could, you know, get further into this competition with just how they've been playing. Even though, yeah, okay, it's 2 players from 69IQ Esports and 1 player from XSET. Clearly, there is some chemistry there. Clearly, you've got 3 fantastic Apex players who, you know, if you put them in the mood, if you get them with the right gun, they are going to be hitting those shots. And, you know, it's all about damage. If you can get that damage output higher than your other team, the likelihood is you're probably winning the fights.
Well, no knocks early on here, but a bit of damage being taken by both teams, as you would expect. A little bit of a scrap going around for the central control room at the moment. Some nice shots coming in from Verhulst as he takes a little bit of an off angle, and now using that Octane Stim to get up and get aggressive because his Skittlecakes is taken down to no shields though, but he should be able to pop a battery for now. 56 flesh damage done as Dooplex does actually manage to get in and get that first knock onto Slayers.
Really important, and now you need to push up, take advantage of this one, but with the bubble in the middle here, it does make it quite awkward. And you know, Clane is scary with this Wingman, doesn't hit those shots though, and just gets absolutely pummeled by the rest of the squad. Wasn't able to escape. Esports Arena tied up 1-1. it's terrifying when people fly through the air at you and start using their fists. It is so disorientating when you get hit by melees. I hate it. It actually makes me physically angry when it happens, when in BR I drop and someone starts punching me. Oh, it's infuriating.
Yeah, it's certainly something to behold, but I think there was a little bit of a mid-air collision there with two Pathfinders butting heads as it was the final player who did fall, but tied up at 1-1. Esports Arena, a good job from them, as you would expect them answering back. And I think that's one thing that we should keep in mind here. The rounds have never got out of reach for Esports Arena. It's never been, you know, when they've been on the back foot by 2-3 rounds, it's always been within striking distance for them. Whenever they lose, Dan, they bounce back almost immediately.
Yeah, they're very good at just responding and changing up the pace when they need to. They recognize how the other team's going to be playing on the map, and they say, okay, well, let's match it, or let's try something a little bit different that counters the way that they're doing. And now Esports Arena have gone for a little bit of high ground control, but they, again, are going to have to push into this zone. And even though zone hasn't been too important in any of these rounds so far, eventually there is the possibility that, you know, it could be important. So you've always got to take it into consideration when you are placing yourself on the map.
Yeah, little things as well that Esports Arena doing well, like you mentioned, or like we've just seen there, I should say, picking up those credits, making sure that you get those crafting materials to move into the next round so that you can get everything you need to. Skittlecakes is going to pick up the care package, but not sure if there's going to be anything in there that he likes. There's a rampage, however, there's also a player in front of him. That's not a rampage, that's a car, one of the new weapons that's come down. And he does a good amount of damage. The bubble will go down, which will get Skittlecakes back to his feet, but you can hear a grapple coming in from a Pathfinder, and it looks like XSET want to try and take advantage of this. All players still on their feet for now for XSET. However, SmeggyToe goes down, and they managed to hold that off so well, Esports Arena, as now Slayer's in a 1v1 with the Gibraltar. He'll take him down, and now it looks like this is going to be the end of the round. They do take advantage of that early damage, and it will be XSET who got up 2-1.
Yeah, Esports Arena consistently going for this bubble res every time they lose a player, and whilst I like the way they defend it, they throw the nades into the bubble, and then the player who isn't rezzing tries to do the damage. Even if you get that res up, XSET have been so patient. They haven't been jumping in whilst the res is happening and whilst they are expecting the nades to be there in the bubble. Instead, they wait for that player to be picked up, and then they just hyper-focus one of the players to ensure that it's just another 3v2 that happens. Even if it's not that player who's going to be inevitably healing after getting picked up, Esports Arena have just really been struggling to get that player back on their feet.
So here we go then. Next round has already begun. You can see that XSET have an opportunity here to really put the pressure onto Esports Arena. And that looks like what they're trying to do. Skittlecakes going to get the first knockdown. And like I mentioned, just great bounce back ability coming in from Esports Arena. However, Verhulst did go down, so it's going to be a chance now for 69 IQ Slayers to move in. However, Skittlecakes is letting rip with that devotion. And now it's all up to Clane with the Peacekeeper in hand. It's not going to happen, and Esports Arena will tie things up. That was an aggressive round, Dan, compared to what we've seen so far.
Yeah, Esports Arena just able to shred with the damage there. The gold backpack becoming very important when they tried to go for the res, but in the end, it was just the sheer amount of DPS output that we saw from Esports Arena. Skittlecakes going huge just with the devotion. I know Dooplex was there alongside him, but if he hadn't hit these shots, that could have got very scary indeed, because the PK, when it does connect, it connects pretty hard. 2-2, and again, another very interesting and close matchup between these two teams, where some rounds we've got aggression and we've got fast-paced rounds, others are slightly more slower and methodical, and it does seem like neither team can find that right mix to just string some rounds together at the moment.
So 2-2, all tied up. Nice damage coming in from Clane, though, with the wingman once again, which has kind of been the story of success for XSET so far. However, success is being met with grenades. And now Esports Arena trying to take advantage of the damage that is being done. Skittlecakes has got more nades as well. Slayers is trying to hold off the push, but there's a grenade inside of that bubble. He has to play around the edges of it so carefully. And he does it so well, but once again, the devotion is just ripping Clane. Dooplex will trade. Verhulst does manage to get one, though. So now it's all going to fall down to one player here. SmeggyToe, can he finish this kill? And now we have, I think, a 1v1. Skittlecakes versus SmeggyToe. Pathfinder versus Gibraltar.
Contact.
And a wingman in the hands of SmeggyToe, as well as an Arcstar, might force Skittlecakes out of that building. Here comes the grapple in with the devotion as well. And when it's a Devo, there's only going to be one result from that kind of range, and Esports Arena will close things out.
Yeah, Devo versus Mozambique. I know which gun I'd rather have in my hands, and this seems to be following the same pattern as map number 1. Esports Arena went 2-1 down, now they take a 3-2 advantage, and they can take the map here if they go 4-2 up. Certainly, we're seeing kind of blow for blow, we're seeing trades come out, and in a 1v1, you'd expect the player who has those grenades, if they can connect with them, to take advantage of it, but it was the aggression that we saw from the Pathfinder. Again, another reason why he's very important in these arena tournaments, because you can just jump on an opponent, really took the initiative to get aggressive at the right time, and Esports Arena put themselves on map point.
Map point and a chance to go up 2-0 in the series as well, and put them just one map away from closing things out early. Nade's going to be coming in once again, which might force a little bit more aggression than XSET would have wanted. They're taking a decent amount of damage, but not without exchanging it themselves. But once again, that devotion from Skittlecakes, you can just hear it ringing out, and it's doing so much damage and causing so much carnage at the moment. Esports Arena get 2. And I think we could put a bow on this one, Dan. This is going to be done. Clane, 1 HP, make that 0. Esports Arena will take home the second map.
And you can see why the pattern is exactly the same, because it does seem, when it comes to single fire weapons, XSET seem to have the advantage. The wingman shots in the opening rounds, they were just spot on, but as soon as that devotion comes into play and the automatics are being able to be used, the aggression can come out from Esports Arena. And we're still seeing XSET holding down wingman in, round 4, round 5, round 6, and they're really struggling because of it.
Well, we're going to go for a quick break now as we prepare the next game of the series. But Esports Arena just one round away now, one map away, I should say, from closing things out. We'll see you in just a few.
And welcome back, everybody. UMG Champions Apex Legends Arena $10,000 Invitational. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Onset and Gaskin. 2 maps down and 2 maps going to the way of Esports Arena with identical scoreline 4-2. And, you know, Onset, you said I was kind of picking on your Gaskin's my favorite. I'm going to start with you this time around to make you feel love, because I do got a lot of love for you, brothers. So, XSET giving up a better fight than I was expecting, especially because they have 2 subs that are, in fact, from the UK. So, you know, naturally, we are hosting the servers on NA servers, already at a bit of a disadvantage, you'd have to assume. But let's go back to Thermal Station, the use of Ashe. You know, Clane comes out there. Ashe wasn't utilized to the fullest of her ability, and I think it's hard to use Ashe. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Is it difficult to use Ashe, especially when you're having subs? Because I feel Ashe is a legend to use when everybody's on the same page.
I don't know if it's so much to do with the lineup and, you know, being able to take advantage of her abilities. It's having the abilities available. I think they're very expensive comparatively to what other options are in arenas for similar things. For example, a Pathfinder zipline or a grapple is something that you can use for mobility a lot more often than you will be able to use for Ashe, for example. We only saw one ultimate available, I'm pretty sure, which, yeah, everyone can take it at once. Yeah, it's immediate, but if you're only using it once in 6 rounds, are you getting the most value out of a legend? I don't think you are, personally. So I think that's why we saw a little bit of a change into that next one.
Well, I'm already being kicked off. Sometimes I just want to talk to you guys longer, but I can't. So I guess we're going into map 3 already. But before I do, guys, going to pass it back to you just for a quick question. Overflow seemed to went better for XSET. Do you think that's just kind of how the map plays out as a whole? It allows XSET, who, you know, again, playing with 2 subs maybe allows them to be a little bit more aggressive, not as team-oriented as maybe, you know, we saw on Thermal Station. But I passed that question to you. I've got to go. So boys, take it over.
So the fact that he's leaving means I don't have to answer the question. Is that how it works?
That's true.
Like, he has no control.
Completely and utterly ignore
You are powerless.
See, we've taken over now, Dan.
To answer
this
his
is our show. It's not
it was
really.
something
Come
that
back,
I guess
Taylor.
I was.
Taylor,
it was something that I was looking at. Is that in the early rounds we see the damage from the wingman, right? And I think that a map like Overflow, it was open, it had areas where you can get sight lines with the wingman, and that's why we saw XSET find that success in the early game. Maybe they can do the same thing here on Encore. I think it is very much achievable. They can win a couple of rounds to get off, but I need to see something different in the later rounds when some of the big boy weapons are available. I need to see those purchases. I want to see some automatics. I want to see maybe not the Devo, but you know, maybe an automatic
Devo
weapon.
was ripping. The Devo was ripping for Skittlecakes.
In the right hands. In the right.
Very, very true. One thing that I want to highlight as well is obviously Encore is the first time that we've seen this map.
Why is he back?
Hold up. No, hold up, guys. I love the conversation you guys are having, but for some reason when I was kicked off, you guys said I wasn't important, and now you guys control the show?
That was not said.
It wasn't said, but it was implied. It was
I mean,
implied.
you're reading between the lines. That's, you know, we wouldn't get anywhere as a society, as humanity, if we just read between the lines. We go with facts. Okay.
All right.
I was
well, I'm
about to
back.
say my fragile, like, you know, emotional state was actually brought back by you going to me first last time. But
Oh, was it? Yeah. And then
Dan just
Gaskin roasted
made
me
the
after
power
that and
play.
said if he's not
Yeah.
here, he doesn't have power. Like, I don't know what's going on with you guys. You guys are throwing me for a loop. So at this point, nobody's my favorite, all right? Matter of fact, whenever Rain Day and Girl come on, they're going to be my new favorite duo
That's
at that
completely
point.
understandable. We're no one's favorite. Like,
They're
it's fine.
fantastic. Well, all right. So what are we doing? We got Encore coming up next, one of the newer maps that has been added into the rotation. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch it. I've personally enjoyed at least playing Encore, and I'm really going to enjoy watching it. Curious if Ashe is going to be used here, because Ashe was used quite a bit, especially when during my play testing, which doesn't amount to much, but still Ashe was used quite a bit. And then maybe we see XSET utilize her correctly this time around, as opposed to, you know, not as much on Thermal Station. But I guess now I am officially exiting, so you guys can take over for map number 3. So guys, once again, take it away.
Temporary power is back with us, Dan. Temporary
Yes.
power. But we never know what's over our shoulders now. I'm going to be careful how I speak. So I'm just going to, yeah.
Imagine if he just burst through my door. That would be
Yeah,
the
that could
ultimate
happen.
power play, wouldn't it?
That could happen.
Could be. Just one
Yep.
flight away.
Yeah. Never know.
UMG.
And yeah, I think it's less than an 8-hour flight as well. So it could happen, and especially we've got another day tomorrow, Dan. Let's talk about the map, though. Let's talk about Encore, because it's the first time we're going to see it in a competitive setting. It's the first time that we're going to see these teams playing it as well. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out between these top teams. There's a lot of distance between the teams. You can see it's one of the bigger arena maps, so chip damage is going to be really important. I think the wingman shots that were coming in from Clane could be a deciding factor, especially in these early rounds.
Yeah, I think that now you've got a little bit more open terrain, there is going to be more sightlines for that wingman to do some damage, but at the same time, snipers could come into the equation here. You might get some people really starting to pop some heads, as it were. That's what kind of the Gears of War kids say. Look, I'm trying to get back on his side again.
Look at you,
It's not
just
working very well, but
crossing
maybe I'll
so many different, you know,
I know.
communities.
I know. Is that a good thing, though? That I'm just
think
bringing
so.
people together?
I think we sound like people who, you know, it's like when your parents try and talk to you about games. You know what I mean? And they're like, "Yeah, how did the gaming show go?" And you're like, "Oh God, here we go." You know, I think we'll leave it there. Let's talk about the game, Dan, because
Go on then.
I'm gonna be honest, we're going off topic.
So, game. Apex. Encore. Sightlines. Snipers. Headshots.
Snipers.
I think we're going to see...
Possibilities.
Right. I'm predicting XSET win the first round. Esports
Okay.
Arena tied up 1-1. XSET go 2-1 up. Then Esports Arena bounce back and win 4-2. Just like what's happened in the first
so
two
edgy,
maps.
man. So edgy. You are an angsty teenager when it comes to predictions. But let's get into the game now. You can see the Skittlecakes is going to get a little bit aggressive early on here. And oh my word, quite rightly so as well, as he hits 45 flesh damage, cracks the shield almost immediately, bubble down. And it looks like Esports Arena are very, very comfortable here on Encore. Shots going down inside of the bubble. It will be Verhulst and Skittlecakes who get 2. And now SmeggyToe will be left on his own. And that grenade is thrown into the skies and a prayer to the heavens, because that looks like it's not going to do any damage. And that will be Esports Arena taking the first round in double quick time. Quick step in, Dan.
Can I get an encore? Do you want more?
I've been trying not to do that for the
They say
entire
no.
time.
I mean, it's in my head. Every
Yeah,
time I
same.
say the word encore, I just want to turn into Jay-Z and do a little rap, but it's not going to happen right now. Esports Arena,
best for
they take
everyone.
the first round. They go against my predictions. That's why I've done that. I've done that for you, the people at home, because we want to see a little bit of variety in our games. We don't want to see the same pattern emerging every single map, do we? But Esports Arena, they won that one. Do you know why, Mark? Because they got aggressive. They got in the face of XSET, and that seems to be how you beat XSET. You take away that poke damage. Instead, you utilize your ability as a team to just surround another team like Esports Arena have done. They pick and choose their fight so successfully, very good with their targeting, and the damage outputs there as well.
We'll move towards the stage side now, and Skittlecakes once again furthest up on Pathfinder, looking to see if he can get any damage. You can already see in the weaponry the difference between maps, with Skittlecakes having that wingman in hand. Clane's going to be hit by a couple of grenades as well. There's a little bit of crossfire coming in, and Clane is in a really difficult spot here. Skittlecakes recognizes that, listens to the call as well, takes him down, and now Slayer's in a 1v1 in the bubble with a Gibraltar, and he will fall as well. SmeggyToe on for the first time. But for the second time, Dan, 2 rounds in a row, left on his own. This time he'll get a battery off, but it's not looking good for him. How do you feel for the guy?
I don't. Punishment for having a name like SmeggyToe. He deserves to die here. Not it, in game. SmeggyToe is going to be in a 1 versus 3. Dooplex very low. Elsewhere it doesn't matter because here comes Verhulst. Jesus, that man's terrifying. I wouldn't want to play against Esports Arena. I'm going to be honest with you. Usually I would kind of love to go up against a pro team, to analyze how they're playing, but I just think they bully you at sometimes. They just get in your face and rip you to shreds.
Yeah, I think it's one thing. We always talk about, why are Esports Arena so good? How are they having so much success? They're nuts mechanically as well. There's not really a weak link at the moment that you can see in this team. And even here, a great example, Verhulst slides in first. He has the ability to stim out if he needs to, just not giving any advantage to their opponents. He's got a teammate with him to finish off the damage that he did. And there was half a bullet maybe that connected to give him the assistance. But even in a 1v3 scenario, it's about playing together. It's about not making it a 1v2, because if it becomes a 1v2, all of a sudden things look a little bit different. You start to get a little bit worried. You start to get a little bit shaky. You start to get a little bit nervous, Dan. But not giving that advantage, not giving that opportunity to their opponents. Now Esports Arena have got a chance to make this 3-0 very quickly. Yeah,
they just don't seem to take their kind of foot off the pedal. They're really always just trying to do their very best, and it's going to be massive for Esports Arena as well. The damage comes out with the devotion now, and Skittlecakes, it's your time to shine. You can pop off, you can finish this round, you can finish this map, you can finish this match with some damage here. SmeggyToe, though, will reply, and XSET, they get one on the board, and they just about survive here.
Yeah, the stick was good. However, before the explosion, the damage really started to initiate itself. They did lose a player, so it was a momentary 2v3, and they couldn't really turn that one around, even with the stick coming in and the damage being done. So Esports Arena now going to have to win another round. We'll have another opportunity to close out the series here against XSET, but XSET needed that because otherwise it was all over, Dan, and they would have been, unfortunately, falling out of the tournament. But that was the initial knock that came in, or should I say that was one of the secondary knocks that came in after Clane did get the first himself. Skittlecakes just missing a couple of bullets there. You can see the SmeggyToe was down to only a slither of HP, but it was looking pretty difficult for them to turn that one around, as now XSET, with that round win and with the resources they've managed to get in their favor, do have the zipline to get to this platform first.
Yeah, they need to again win this round to take us to a tie. Otherwise, Esports Arena can still win this match and progress to the next round, whereas XSET will drop to the lower bracket if they lose this one here. Bubble comes out, and now we'll get the fight, and Skittlecakes again with the devotion here on set.
Going to be traded out, though, by the Mastiff here, SmeggyToe. So it's 2v2 at the moment, with Dooplex and Verhulst trying to get towards each other to make sure they can do what they can, to work together, to fight together. Playing around those knockdowns, using that stim as well. Going to cost him a little bit of HP, and Slayers will come in with the Mozambique now to make it a little bit more difficult for Esports Arena, and it's looking tougher still as the final player will fall. And now we're tied up at 2-2, and what was looking like a very, very simple job for Esports Arena started to slip through their fingers.
Yeah, XSET seem to have found a way to stop that devotion from continuously peppering them. I think they are focusing Skittles a little bit more. They're ensuring that if they are going to lose a player, they're going to at least respond and trade out a knock, so that it carries on with a 2v2. I think the difficulty that we saw from Esports Arena there was one player kind of got pushed down to the low ground, which left his teammate in a 1 versus 2. By the time he had joined the rest of the fight, the damage had already been done, and the two players from Esports Arena were somewhat split, which isn't something we're used to seeing. We were talking about how they don't take their foot off the gas. I don't think that is the case here. I think XSET have just really tried to take the game to Esports Arena now, and they seem to have stepped up ever so slightly, adjusting to this devotion aggression that we've been seeing.
There's a defensive bombardment coming in now from a Gibraltar, so it's going to slow things down for just a second. That's going to allow XSET to move up as well, and like you mentioned, matching aggression with aggression. But look at this head glitch here that Dooplex has got. Very difficult to shoot a Gibraltar off of that kind of angle, especially with that gun shield up as well. So good initial damage being done, but as you see, the space between the two teams is such, Dan, that with the resources available and the shield cells available to be popped, can't take advantage that quickly, although a bubble has gone down.
Bubble's gone down. Skittlecakes again just waiting in the wings with his devotion, as XSET a little bit scattered at the moment. They do need to be a little bit careful, as SmeggyToe could be, just focused as one single player, but now they've been able to regroup. They're going to go a long way round here. They're going to take the low ground as well. Esports Arena could take advantage of this if they can get above them. Dooplex trying to zone them into an area where the rest of the team can maybe jump on top of them, and that damage might be enough just to launch an attack.
And here goes Skittlecakes once again. He hears the call of damage being done, and Arcstar goes down to try and deny any kind of exit. Dooplex will get that first knock. Verhulst to follow it up. Final player alive is going to be met by a stream of bullets coming from 3 different players, and Esports Arena now, once again, find themselves closer and closer to that 3-0 series victory.
Yep, so they find themselves in 3-2 again after a slightly different pattern. They weren't able to close things out maybe as quick as we were expecting here in this one, but XSET just really struggling. They didn't seem to know what they wanted to do that round. They all traversed the same ground and they tried to get into a position. Maybe we're looking to play zone a little bit, but it was the damage done from a distance that allowed Skittlecakes to push in aggressively with that Pathfinder. And I think you can tell, like, Skittlecakes, he's got a smile on his face every time he knows that he's being sent in. You can tell he's just like, yeah, get me involved. Give me this devotion. I've got an Arc Star as well. This is going to be enjoyable.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be asked twice, does it? It's like, damage done. He's like, yep, I'm already grappling. I'm already mid-air. I'm already taking flight. Now, Esports Arena, like I mentioned, another round here, and they will be feeling pretty smug about their first round performance as Clane takes a little bit of damage, but with the initial damage being done by these grenades, no huge amount of knocks or cracks or shields goes down, so a little bit of a reset across the board here. Skittlecakes is going to have to retreat to his teammates to pop a battery here, and same can be said for Slayers. Everyone going to take their time just to get back to full health here. Everyone has those batteries, has those cells to work with. So now we're back to this peak damage. And look at this position here from Dooplex right up on the high ground. Plus, it's got a defensive bombardment, which is going to scatter a few of these players now from XSET.
Offensive bombardment now, and is it going to actually do any damage? Clane, though, goes down, and Verhulst with the damage means he could secure this one alongside Skittlecakes, and XSET down to 2. Esports Arena in a 3 versus 2, and this should be match point unless they make any sort of mistake.
Slayers is going to have to do something pretty special with this wingman. However, he watched SmeggyToe get absolutely mashed to pieces, and now he's going to follow him as well to the bottom of the mashed potato bowl as he will be met with a devotion. And Esports Arena win this one 4-2. The pattern does repeat itself, but it will be the most important score, the 3-0 series victory. That was very impressive from them once again, Dan. Once they get that advantage, like I mentioned, we're going to talk about it a lot, I'm sure, as the tournament goes on. They do not let it go.
I do really appreciate the fact that we saw them make a game of it, though, Reflections. I think you'll agree. The fact that we saw, XSET come into this, we were expecting Esports Arena to maybe win this one very comfortably, but it were slightly closer games than we all expected.
Yeah, I think so. And again, I'm impressed with XSET. I mean, you're introducing 2 new players. Well, maybe not new as a whole one. I'm sure they played together at some point, at least even casually. But, it's never easy to play against a solidified roster. And we knew that struggle was going to be real for XSET. But I agree with you. I mean, it was a lot closer even than I was expecting. All 3 maps will go to the way of Esports Arena with a 4-2 scoreline. But I do have faith that XSET could still make it to playoffs. My only worry, Onset, is the fact that when we do move into playoffs, let's say they do make it there, I think teams that are, more comfortable playing together are going to be very difficult to deal with. And the reason why is because XSET, they struggle to, I think, overall adapt. That's the biggest thing, right? Adaptability. And Esports Arena are able to adapt because, again, they're a full-fledged roster.
Yeah, I mean, it's chemistry, right? We always talk about it. They're used to fighting around these bubbles, and that's something which takes a lot of time to perfect as a team. Who's going to be the aggressor when the bubble goes down? Who's going to play the back of the bubble? Who's going to be kind of working around the edge of it? All these kind of things that you have to work out as a team through experience. You can't put together if you're not playing together every single time that you play, a Battle Royale, whatever it is. And you saw it come into effect. So it felt like every time a bubble went down, the majority of the time, 80% of the time, it was Esports Arena who came out of that fight with a knock or with the advantage.
So, Gaskin, at this point, I do believe we are going to see XSET obviously drop down a loser bracket. I think their next opponent is going to be, I think, Dumpsters, if I'm not mistaken, or Dumpers, excuse me. So that's going to be an interesting one. I actually think XSET might be the favorite there, so we might see them move forward to obviously play the loser of the, I believe it's going to be Ghost and Esports Arena, which that's going to be an amazing one. Whoever loses that is still going to have a chance to make it into playoffs. But you still think there's hope for XSET moving forward?
I do, and I have to back my fellow countrymen. We've got 2 players from the UK, and there is always going to be those extra difficulties playing on NA servers when you're from EU as well. So that is going to add that extra element of, just maybe excuses for the team when they do lose a round here or there. But I think they demonstrated enough in that first match that if they can start to solidify a little bit more as a squad, build a bit more chemistry, do better in those later rounds when there's more weapons available and those automatics can really come into play, then yeah, I think they can get into maybe the final of the lower bracket and give themselves a chance to get into playoffs for sure.
And Onset, obviously, for Esports Arena, they do move forward to play against Ghost. And Ghost has been around our tournaments literally since the very start. They've had great success. But obviously, we've been hyping up Esports Arena and how talented they are whenever it comes to ALGS, obviously in first place as of right now. You think Ghosts are going to have their hands forward? Do you think Ghosts, given their experience in arenas, might carry them to victory?
Oh, I can guarantee it won't be a 3-0 either side. I think both teams are going to be locking horns. I think it's going to be really, really down to some clutch moments. We didn't see a huge amount of clutch moments in that previous game. It was kind of like a knock went down and the team will kind of collapse and be able to take advantage of it. But it might come down to a few more 1v1s. I think we saw one that Skittlecakes won with a devotion, but it's going to be a lot tighter than that series we just saw there. I think that it's going to come down to someone doing something magical to take them through to that next round.
Well, either way, it's going to be a lot of fun to see how that one's going to end up unfolding. I'm sure we'll have a chance to catch that in a little bit, but we have to check out our other group, Group B, that's going to be taking place. Onset Gaskin, good job opening the show. It was a lot of fun, man. I'm sure you guys will be back, but Rain Day and Girl, they're going to be replacing you. And like I said, they might be my new favorite duo. Honestly, I don't know at this point. I got love for everybody, but this next matchup is going to be incredible. Arena Demons will be coming back into the fold, and this time around, they're going to have to face off against Torrent, who has their hands full, because Arena Demons, they know their arenas. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, that great series will be underway.